Welcome to Vysh IAS. So we'll be continuing with the PLUMS series of polity, governance and schemes today. Okay, so if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing this channel so that you will be getting daily free updates on UPSC. And if you're looking for a good quality test series, then you can contact the number which is given on the screen 7200681675. The first question reads, how many statements are correct? First statement is Article 368 in this part states that power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution and procedure thereof. In the second statement, Parliament can add, change or repeal any provision of the Constitution in accordance with the procedure. Then 3. Keshavananda Bharati case 1973, Parliament cannot amend the basic structure of the Constitution. So fairly standard statements from Lakshmikant, and it's a very important portion relating to Parliament, the amendment procedure, in which case this has evolved. So here all the statements are correct, fairly easy statements. So all the three statements are correct, and today's homework for you will be, you have to know the timeline of the evolution of this basic structure. Okay, so Keshavananda Bharati case, it is something related to basic structure, but then there are some other important cases also which are related to this basic structure only, and you have to know the timeline which comes first. Okay, there is a timeline of the cases in which the provisions relating to basic structure also got improved and improvised. Okay, so you have to know that timeline and evolution of the basic structure, the newer provisions, which are the newer provisions which got added, and what is the stand of Supreme Court and various High Court all over the country over this basic structure, like what all items can be included, what all provisions can be deleted from basic structure, to which authority the power is to be given, whether it's to legislature, executive. Okay, all those things evolved in a timeline basis, and you have to know the timeline also. The second question, how many statements are correct? There is no provision for a special body like Constitutional Convention as in USA or Constitutional Assembly for amending the Constitution. The constituent power is vested in the Parliament and only in few cases the state legislatures. Now this is really tough. This is a bit tougher question. Mostly people will be ignoring this portion, but yes, in the coming years UPSC can pick up these kind of statements from the mains perspective and put it directly as a statement in your prelims paper. So please go through the mains portion also. So whenever you are learning a subject, it is better to integrate prelims and mains and learn it together, so that you will get that connection. It will be useful for both prelims and mains. Rather than that, if you are going to separate them, then the overall motive is going to be destroyed. Okay, so as you know, prelims is no longer narrow. Prelims is no longer narrow, and it is getting widened. The scope of questions being asked, everything is getting widened. And mains also, if you have to write a good mains answer, then you will have to get a good connection with prelims portions also. So it's better to integrate and learn. So here this is a correct statement. It is said that there is no special body like Constitutional Convention which exists in USA, India. Okay, so this is a correct statement. Then come to the next statement, the power to initiate an amendment to the Constitution lies with the Parliament. Yes, this is a standard statement and it's a correct statement. So here not all three, all two. Okay, so all the two statements are correct only. Come to the next. KT Shah referred X, a check on a bank payable only when the resources of the bank permit. Here X refers to. Okay, so as I have said earlier, they can pick up some direct statements from the mains perspective and put it as a statement in prelims. This is another example of such a pattern. So here this overall point, okay, the same point you can use in mains also. Okay, so if you want, you can note it down. KT Shah, he referred this particular thing X as a check on a bank which is payable only when the resources of the bank permit. Here X refers to. So you can make a logical guess also. If something has to be like this, it is payable only when the resources of the bank permit, like that. Okay, so you can relate like it is not such important, or it is in political language or in polity language, it is not legally binding. Okay, out of this which is not legally binding, obviously fundamental rights is not going to be the answer. Martial also not going to be the answer, because both these things are having some kind of extra power, and both of these provisions are like VIP provisions. Okay, there are some extra power which is given with respect to these two things. Politically enforceable, it is legally enforceable, protected by law. Whereas this fundamental duties and directive principles of state policies, it is more like a guide. Okay, it is more like a instructions, or what you can say, it is more like a synopsis, and it is not legally enforceable also. So the answer has to be between A and D. So if you have gone through your mains aspect very well, then you can mark the answer as directive principles of state policy. This is the correct answer. So 50% elimination will work. The other 50% you have to know the correct statement in some questions. Whereas for some other questions, complete elimination is also going to work. So which questions, depending upon the paper sitting, you in the exam hall, you have to decide which questions you have to attend, how many questions you have to attend, and you have to pick up the easiest of the easiest of the 100 questions, and you have to reach the cutoff somehow. Okay, that is up to you. It comes through practice only, that more tougher the question, it's better to leave. That is how it works. Okay, now come to the next question. Which of the following statements are correct? Features of presidential government include single executive. Yes. What is the the dual executive? This feature resonates with the parliamentary form of government, whereas single executive, it is with presidential form of government. So please go through the difference between parliamentary versus presidential form. President and legislatures elected separately for a fixed term with non-responsibility and political homogeneity may also exist. Yes, this is also feature of presidential form. In a single statement, many features are given. Non-responsibility, yes. We know that responsible form of government is the parliamentary form. So non-responsibility, it is presidential. So if you know the one part, the other opposite will be the other one. Then political homogeneity, yes. We do have a wide representation in parliamentary form, whereas that does not exist in presidential form. Okay, so president and the legislatures, they are elected separately, whereas in parliamentary form a single election will be there, and from that whole Lok Sabha a government will be formed. So here both the statements are correct, and both 1 and 2 is the answer. Now come to the next one. Elements of the basic structure include sovereign, democratic and republican nature of Indian polity. Yes, so please take note of this statements. Okay, elements of basic structure, as I have said, we have seen one more question relating to basic structure today, only a statement question. So which are the items which are included in basic structure? There are some important items which you need to mug up. No way you need to mug up that. Okay, that's very important. So from that only I have picked up these statements. So basic structure includes it, list a certain items, certain number of items which you have to mug up. There is no other way. So out of that there is 3 statements given. There are 3 statements given here. Sovereign, democratic, republican nature. So instead of republican nature, they may give like secular or any other keyword they may be picking up and giving. Okay, religious nature. So if you see such a statement, you should be able to identify which is the correct and which is the wrong one. So in polity, keywords are very important. Keywords matter. Okay, so whenever you see a question, you have to round the keywords. Okay, rounding the keywords will make the question more visible and noticeable to you, so that you can process that statement in a much easier way. Okay, so here first statement is correct. And secular character of constitution, yes, it's also correct. Separation of powers between legislature, executive and judiciary, yes, it's also correct. But whereas if the statement was separation of powers between the central judiciary and state judiciary, if such a statement is given, no, because we don't have a double system of courts. Okay, we don't have a double system of courts which exist in US. In USA we are having double system of courts. There is a federal court and there is state court, whereas in India there is a integrated system of courts. So with respect to judiciary, this is not applicable. Okay, within judiciary, but within legislature, executive and judiciary there is a separation. Okay, so these minute points seem minute, but you have to take special care of it, since there is high probability that you can mistake these statements. Okay, you can make a mistake in these statements. So 1, 2 and 3, all the 3 statements are correct. 1, 2 and 3. That's the end of today's session. So we'll meet in the next week in the next episode. Until then, stay tuned. Thank you.